Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Global Conflict News. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today we are going to talk about one of the most shocking and embarrassing incidents for Russia in recent times: Ukrainian drones striking deep inside Moscow, right into the skyline of the capital city. This is not just another battlefield update. It's a symbolic attack that reaches the very heart of Russian power, a moment that Vladimir Putin certainly did not expect. The event has shaken Russia's confidence, exposed its vulnerabilities, and sent ripples across the international community. As we go deeper into this story, we'll explore how these drones managed to reach Moscow, what this means for Russia's defense systems, and how this could shift the balance of the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia. From the outside, this entire situation looks like a massive dent in the image of Russian security. Moscow's skyline, known for its luxury apartments, business centers, and government offices, was suddenly transformed into a zone of fear and uncertainty. Drones flying over what should be the most heavily guarded airspace in Russia show a remarkable failure in detection and response systems. The exterior of this attack, both literally and symbolically, represents Ukraine's growing capability and Russia's declining control. The Russian capital, a city that was once considered untouchable, has now become a target of precision drone warfare. The visuals of smoke rising near skyscrapers and people filming the incidents with disbelief underline how warfare has evolved, no longer confined to distant front lines, but reaching deep into the heart of enemy territory. For the world, the message is clear. The war has entered a new phase where psychological warfare and symbolic victories matter as much as territorial gains. Moving to the deeper side of this story, the interior of this event, the details, reactions, and implications reveal far more than meets the eye. Russian media initially tried to downplay the incident, claiming that most drones were intercepted and damages were minimal. But social media and independent sources painted a very different picture. Footage showed drones flying across Moscow's skyline, explosions near key administrative zones, and fragments of destroyed drones littering the streets. The fear among residents was palpable. People living in luxury towers near Moscow City were awakened by explosions, windows shattered, and alarms blared in the night. The psychological impact was huge. If the capital isn't safe, nowhere in Russia is. This attack exposed the flaws in Russia's air defense network, particularly the S-400 systems that were supposed to be the pride of its military. Ukrainian engineers and tacticians had clearly studied Russian radar gaps, launching drones in waves to overwhelm detection and interception systems. Some drones flew low to avoid radar coverage, while others came from unexpected angles, confusing Russian defenses. Inside the Kremlin, reports suggest that Putin was furious. His government scrambled to project calm, holding emergency security meetings and promising to reinforce Moscow's defenses. Yet, despite official statements, the mood inside Russia was one of embarrassment and confusion. For the first time, ordinary Russians were witnessing the war not just through television, but right outside their windows. Ukrainian officials, though cautious in their statements, hinted that this was a response to the relentless bombing of Ukrainian cities by Russian forces. They argued that if Kiev can be targeted, so can Moscow. This tit-for-tat dynamic marks a dangerous escalation. The war has gone beyond borders, and no capital can now claim to be safe. The interior of this story also reveals how technology has leveled the playing field. Ukraine, with limited resources but high innovation, has managed to challenge one of the world's largest militaries. Homemade drones, guided with precision and loaded with explosives, are now rewriting the rules of modern warfare. When analyzing the performance aspect of this operation, it becomes clear that Ukraine has reached a new level of strategic and technological efficiency. The drones used in this attack are part of a new generation of long-range, low-cost unmanned aerial vehicles designed to evade radar and reach high Lu targets. These drones demonstrated exceptional range and coordination, traveling hundreds of kilometers undetected before striking near Moscow's center. Ukraine's use of swarm tactics, sending multiple drones at once, forced Russian defenses to divide their attention. This overwhelmed radar tracking and surfaced, where missile systems that are optimized for larger aircraft, not small and nimble drones. The performance of these drones proves that in modern warfare, speed, stealth, and precision are far more effective than brute force. Ukraine's drone units have become highly skilled, combining local manufacturing with Western intelligence to pinpoint targets. Their success is measured not just in damage, but in psychological and political impact. And by that metric, this attack was an overwhelming success. Russia's performance in defense, however, has raised serious questions. Despite heavy investment in air defense systems like the S-400 and Pants RS-1, many drones penetrated Moscow's airspace. Russian experts have blamed radar blind spots and slow response times, while others admitted that the systems are not designed for small, low-flying drones. The failure to stop such attacks, despite multiple warnings, shows that Russian air defense is stretched thin across the vast territory. Many of its best systems are stationed near the front lines in Ukraine, leaving the capital more vulnerable than before. In performance terms, this attack has exposed how unprepared Russia is for the modern drone warfare era. It's not just a battlefield failure, it's a failure of perception, complacency, and strategy. On the safety side, Moscow's citizens are now living in an environment of tension and uncertainty. People who once believed the war was far away are now hearing explosions in the night. Authorities quickly moved to reassure residents, increasing patrols and deploying more air defense systems around the city. But safety features can't erase fear. Even though Russia claims that its security forces are on high alert, the reality is that Moscow's safety has been compromised. Air defense installations now dot the rooftops of major buildings, and anti-drone guns are deployed across key locations. Yet these visible safety measures also serve as a reminder that the city is now under constant threat. For ordinary people, this marks a turning point. The war that once seemed distant has arrived at their doorstep. In Ukraine, safety remains a daily struggle as Russian missiles continue to target civilian areas, but the psychological balance has shifted. For once, it is Russian citizens who are feeling the insecurity that Ukrainians have endured for months. What makes this event uniquely important, the unique selling points, so to speak, is not just the military success, but the symbolism behind it. This was an operation that humiliated one of the most powerful leaders in the world. For years, Putin has projected an image of total control and unbreakable power. Moscow was his fortress, his showcase to the world of stability and strength. But these drone strikes shattered that illusion. The attack demonstrated that Russia's most fortified city could be reached and disrupted. It sent a message to both Russians and the world. Power is not absolute, and modern warfare allows even smaller nations to strike back against giants. The Ukrainian strategy here is not only about damage but about breaking confidence, spreading confusion, and inspiring global attention. Each drone that reached Moscow symbolized defiance, proof that Ukraine's spirit remains unbroken despite months of bombardment. Another unique point is the technological and tactical brilliance of the operation. These drones are not high-end Western imports but largely developed or modified domestically, proving that necessity truly is the mother of invention. They are cheap, efficient, and customizable, the perfect asymmetric weapon against a much larger force. This is the future of warfare, where innovation trumps size and cost. In this sense, Ukraine has become a testing ground for the next generation of military strategy, and nations around the world are watching closely. In terms of cost, or what we could call the price of this operation, the difference between Ukraine's investment and Russia's loss is staggering. Each drone costs only a few $1,000s to produce, while Russia had to fire expensive interceptor missiles costing hundreds of thousands to millions each. The financial imbalance in such attacks is devastating for the defender. The economic price of panic is also immense. Flights were temporarily suspended in and out of Moscow airports. Insurance costs surged, and global markets briefly reacted to the uncertainty. The political price for Putin is even higher. His image of control has been damaged, and his government is now under pressure to explain how drones could reach the capital multiple times. Inside Russia, critics are starting to question whether the government can really protect them. Outside Russia, it emboldens Ukraine's allies and donors to continue their support, seeing that their investments are yielding visible results. Finally, to conclude, this attack marks a defining chapter in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The war has evolved from tank battles and artillery duels to high-tech drone warfare that targets the very core of national pride and perception. Putin, who once mocked Ukraine's military capabilities, now faces a new reality. His capital is within reach of his opponent. For Ukraine, this was not just revenge, but a demonstration of resilience, ingenuity, and determination. It tells the world that even when outnumbered and outgunned, a nation that refuses to surrender can still strike back effectively. The skies over Moscow have become symbols of a changing era in warfare, one where technology, strategy, and willpower decide the outcome, not just firepower. So as we look at the smoke rising over Moscow's skyline, one thing becomes clear. This war is far from over, but it has entered a new and unpredictable stage. Putin's embarrassment is not just personal, it's national. The myth of invulnerability has been broken, and from here on, the world will watch how Russia responds to this humiliation. Thank you for watching Global Conflict News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest developments from around the world.